Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and in this video I'm going to bring you a couple of games from some tier 7 light tanks that aren't really very popular. We're starting off with the Aufklärungspanzer Panther, the Scout Panther, the Awful Panther, AFK Panther, Fail Panther. It has a whole variety of different names that people have attributed to it. This used to be the tier 7 German light tank before it was replaced by the Sparpanzer 1C. So, this is one of those tanks that when it was introduced was god-awful, got the reputation, quite rightly, for being god-awful, but then when Wargaming did subsequently buff the machine, people just kind of didn't really give it the credit that it was due. It was never a fantastic machine, I don't think, but after Wargaming gave it some love, it was at least not too bad. The problem I always felt with it was that it felt like a tier 7 medium tank with abysmal matchmaking. And when you think about it in those terms, that doesn't sound particularly impressive. And that's basically how I'm going to use it in this game, if I'm honest. So, this is a tier 8 game. We're on the Windstorm map. Windstorm is not my favourite map in the world, but, you know, it's not abysmal. And I've come to the spot that you typically see medium tanks go to from this spawn. Now, if you look at the team composition, we have an awful lot of tank destroyers, 3 artillery, a light tank, which is me, 1 medium tank and 4 heavies. The enemy team have 5 heavies, 2 mediums, 4 artillery, 3 artillery, and did have 1 light tank, but that bulldog has gone up to the spirit in the sky. Here is an IS. T44 has put a shot into him. I'm basically just going to work with this T44 and see if we can tag team the IS down while taking as little damage as possible ourselves. Now, I want to be a little bit careful because it's not uncommon that tank destroyers will camp up on that building to my right-hand side, but I'm going to go for it anyway. And it doesn't look like there is anyone up there because otherwise I imagine I would have been shot by now. And the one thing this tank did have going for it was that the gun had rather high DPM, which was nice, and we even managed to pick up the kill on him, which is also nice. And there's an SU-100 who didn't hit us, which is, have you guessed it, nice. Now, looking behind us, the enemy team have stormed through the A and B lines, and there's a whole world of pain coming up our wazoo, which is suboptimal. You know, again, we have a lot of tank destroyers, we don't have many frontline tanks, which is a little awkward. So firstly, we have this Object 416. Now, I'm using repair toolbox, sorry, Binos, Camo Net, you know, my grinding equipment. I'm not using a gun rammer or anything like that. And even without a gun rammer or a vert stab, the accuracy on the move of this tank is quite nice. Ooh, we set him on fire. The gun fires quickly, you know, it's not actually terrible. And for engaging these kind of soft targets, and now I've got the reload on this guy, it does the job perfectly well. Now, alas, I'm down to 266 health, but we did manage to take out that high DPM tier 8 medium tank. IS-3, T-54 Mod 1, pushing through toward our artillery, so we're trying to help the artillery out, but realistically that artillery is doomed. If one of them doesn't get him, the other one will, sort of thing. There we go, he goes down. So I wanted to focus on not exposing myself to unnecessary fire. IS-3 is tracked and looking the other way, and one of the things I didn't properly appreciate at the time is how tough the side of the turret on the IS-3 is, and the answer is rather. KV-85 has been taken down by our E-25, and the IS-3 is looking at someone else, so I really should just be going for this guy, but I managed to put a shot, by the look of it, into his turret roof, which is made of paper. You can overmatch that armour with a chaffee. Oh, he's looking my way, screw that. You know, we do not want to take a 122mm shell to the face because we shall expire if we do. T-54 Mod 1, on the other hand, I'm running away at this point, and he misses. Seeing if we can put some more shots into him. The other nice thing about this tank is that it does get 10 degrees of gun depression. Although, a lot of the time, because it's so large, and it has that big pimple on top of the turret, you don't actually notice that gun depression. Anyway, Jagdtiger 88, nah, he hasn't managed to point his gun at me, but if I go around there, he's going to traverse around in time to shoot me. So, I'd kind of like some help here. Whoa, Jagdtiger's coming for me, right. Let's get around the other side then if we can. If the AFK Panther were a little bit faster, that would also be nice, you know, if it had slightly better engine power, but nah, them's the breaks, you work with what you've got. So I can't really get around this guy, because although his traverse speed sucks, he can still traverse round in the time it would take me to flank him. And hello artillery, yay! Now that wasn't actually a bad shot from the enemy artillery. I am threatening one of their top tier tanks, and so I don't blame him for trying to take me out at all. E25 and a VKA have come around to deal with this Jagdtiger, which means the Jagdtiger is turning around to look at them, and I'm just going to come and play with him, trying to go for the tracking shots here if I can, while sheltering myself as much as possible from artillery. And the VKA picks up the kill, and I thank the guys for coming and helping me. Without them, at best, I could have just pinned that Jagdtiger down. At worst, I'd have died. The artillery probably would have nailed me eventually. So what's left? 3 artillery pieces, T29 and that T54 Mod 1. Kudos to the team. They've defended the base admirably. And I'm in a light tank. I'm going to see if I can go and do something about the enemy artillery. Now, in an ideal world, I would have the health remaining to pull off some rams against these artillery pieces, but I only have 31 of it left. This is not an ideal world, so that's not a particularly good plan. Put one shot into the Lorraine, managed to get a bit of revenge on him. Can we pick up the kill on this guy? It would be incredibly sweet, seeing as he shot me earlier on. One more round to kill him, and good night, sweet prince. That's all the artillery dealt with. Just leaves the T54 Mod 1 and the T29. T29 is not looking particularly healthy, but I'm going to see if I can pick up some damage into him anyway. Lower plate shots. Well, that one just completely misses, even though this gun is usually pretty accurate. One more round into him. No, VKA picks up that kill. T54 Mod 1 looks like he's back at base, or was last spotted in that area. There he is. Can we get back in time to pick up a little bit more damage and a bit more XP? Come on. No. KV2 derps the guy in the face. And that was the game. Kind of using it a bit more like a medium tank than a light tank, but whatever. That was very favourable matchmaking. It was only a tier 8 game, which is the best sort of matchmaking a tier 7 light tank can get, although there were quite a few tier 8s in the game. So let's go and have a look at the results of that one. There we go, we finally managed to pick up the ace tanker in that machine. Fire for effect, and Bruiser. 2,485 damage, 3 kills, and 1,310 experience. You might be pondering how we got that much experience. Well, a good amount of it was because if you look at the targets we were damaging, IS-3 higher tier, Object 416 higher tier, T-54 higher tier, Jagdtiger, Lorraine 155 both higher tier, IS and T-29 the same tier. So we were generally getting a positive XP multiplier for shooting tanks that were a higher tier than us. 30 shots fired, 23 hits, 21 pens for that damage count, most of which was at relatively close range. We received 2 hits, of which both penetrated and left us on not a fat lot of health, because we also got some splash damage from artillery. Spotted 2 enemy tanks, damaged 7, killed 3, and got 806 assistance damage into the bargain. We had a premium account at the time, so that made a 30,000 credit profit, and just shy of 2,000 XP, without like daily double or anything like that. So that was how I got my ace tanker in the AFK Panther, shortly before it was replaced by the Spar Panzer 1C. Move on to the next game. Here we go in our second outing of the video. Again, it's a tier 7 light tank, as I mentioned, and again, it's an unpopular tier 7 light tank. This is the French AMX 1375. I've recently done a review of this tank, so you can get my thoughts and opinions on it there. But in a nutshell, why do people not like it? Well, because it's kind of sluggish, and because it uses the same gun that you used on the AMX 12T at tier 6, and 144 penetration is not great. And if you look at this matchmaking, we are in a tier 10 game. And it's a tier 10 game with some quite heavily armoured tier 10s. I mean, E100, IS-7, yeah, that's some armour. We're here on Miravanka, former home to the Magic Forest. Magic Forest has kind of been a bit mutilated since then, but there we go. And I'm going to try and come up to this little bush here to do some spotting. Now, this, you can see my ammo loadout. I've got 2 clips of APCR ammo for 12 rounds. Pay attention to how much APCR I have left at the end of the game, would be my advice. Remember, 144mm of penetration in a tier 10 game. Now, that's a KV-13 who'd platooned up with an M41 Walker Bulldog, technically a failed platoon, but what are you going to do? Type 61, no, don't have any shots on him. Kind of annoying, but there we go. Is he going to move forward? Is he going to give us shots? Come on, get yourself spotted. Let me shoot you. You're actually something I can penetrate with your terrible Japanese armor. Damn it. And you can see here that basically the enemy team sent pretty much nothing to the forest. At all. Apart from that KV-13, who is probably wishing he really hadn't platooned with an M41 Walker Bulldog, but there we go. T-62A, that shot doesn't even hit. I'm not actually sure if that's his rear or his front, but either way, that shot, I only at that point had shots on his turret, so I wasn't going to take another one. Type 61 pops up again, and stupid me, I actually went for a reload at that point with 5 shells left in the magazine, which was kind of dumb. I wanted a full magazine if possible, but I didn't think anyone else was going to turn up, but I had 5 shells, that's plenty. What are you going to do? So I could have picked up a bit more damage there, maybe another shot or two into that Type 61, but there we go, I didn't. However, we have a full magazine now. We've fired 1 shot so far to no effect. We might have picked up some assistance damage, not sure. And we're going to see if we can find some of that artillery while avoiding the AMX 5120, because, yeah, we don't want him unloading into us. So what artillery do they have? They have a GWE-100 and an S-51. Again, technically the S-51 is in a fail platoon with a Lerva and a T-34, but frankly the S-51, the gun on it means it probably doesn't really care. AMX 1390, and we're just ploughing shots into him along with someone else, and yes, I just bounced on the guy denying me the kill. Yay! I swear, I never managed to bounce shots in my French light tanks, but when I'm shooting at French light tanks, bounce, 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 bounce. God, it's frustrating. Anyway, we've put a few shots into that AMX 1390. Team is winning 4-2. Magazine is loaded, and that's a T-34. Do we have shots into that guy? Nah, not really. It's a bit of a wasted shot, to be honest. Looking back on it, I'm not actually playing this game massively well, but there we go. 5 rounds left. Can we finish off that T-34? Oh no, I'm playing a bit more cautiously because I don't want to get 51-20'd. Well, that's understandable. We just lost our T-95, and now, going for the T-34, but someone else nails him, and reloading the magazine again with 5 rounds left. Thing is, I've got into the habit of reloading this magazine whenever I had the opportunity, and because it's a really fast magazine reload, but you could definitely make the case that a couple of these I didn't need to, and it was perhaps a dumb idea to try and reload the magazine at the time, but when all's said and done, that's an AMX 5120 that I managed to kill, so I'm not going to complain too much. Reloading the magazine, and going for this S51. Oh, and there's a GW E100, so let's go for him first. Now with 1 magazine, I don't think I can actually kill both of these guys. The GW100 has quite a lot of health. 3. Yeah, it's going to take 5 shots. Oh, I don't even get the kill on the guy. It would take 5 shots to kill him, and I'm reloading the magazine because I cannot clip the S51. So, chasing after this S51. And 1. Nope. 2. And 3rd shot picks up the kill. Reload the magazine. I have 7 rounds of armor-piercing ammo left, by the way. But we've picked up 2 kills. Interestingly, though, between them, it would have taken me 8 shots to kill the GWE-100 and the S51. I mean, this gun is not exactly the most potent weapon in the world. What's left? E100, IS-7, T-62A. Well, penetrating the IS-7 and the E100 with 144mm of penetration is going to be difficult, but that's why I have 2 clips of APCR. We just lost our artillery, by the way. Penetrating the T-62A with 144mm of penetration is also not going to be trivial. I'll bounce on his front, I need his side or his rear to make that work. IS-7 has now gone down, it's just the E100 and the T-62A, so what I'm trying to do at the moment is go after the T-62A, preferably with someone else, so that he will point his armour towards somebody else, and I can slam AP rounds into his flank. There's no point going after the E100 with an AP clip loaded, it's just not going to work. Batchat appears to be paying attention to the E100. No, I think he's trying to shoot the T-62A, but whatever. Closing in on the T-62A. Now, I don't have the clip potential to kill this guy, but along with the Batchat, I might be able to do an awful lot of damage, and the T-62A is going to be far more concerned with dealing with the Batchat rather than little old AMX 1375 me. Batchat dies, I set the T-62A on fire, that shot bounces, aim my shots a bit more carefully, he damages my engine, put it back in, and one more shot to kill this guy. There we go. We managed to kill a tier 10 medium tank, and that just leaves the E100, who gets IS-8'd. So despite the fact that I had 2 clips of APCR there, I only started loading them at the end, when I'd pretty much run out of armor-piercing ammo. I had 1 shell of AP left, and that was a tier 10 game. That's about as bad as the matchmaking is going to get in that tank. Do you want to see how we did? So that game was actually worth my ace tanker for the AMX 1375, fire for effect bruiser, and also my first mark of excellence on the gun barrel. 2,382 damage, 3 kills, 1,223 base experience. Remembering, of course, this was a tier 10 game. 818 assistance damage into the bargain. All of the damage that we actually did was at close range. None of this sniping rubbish. Travelled just over 3 kilometers and picked up a 39,000 credit profit with a premium account. Without premium, it would have been 24,000 credit profit. And about 1,900 experience. Again, no daily double. That was just the experience that we received. Again, if you look at the tanks we actually damaged, T-62A put damage into and killed, and he's a tier 10, GWE 100, tier 10, AMX 5120, tier 9, T-34, we only damaged the track, but never mind, tier 8, AMX 1390, tier 8, S51, tier 7, and we're of course a tier 7 ourselves. So again, a nice positive XP multiplier for damaging and killing tanks that were a higher tier than us, and that's basically how we managed to ace the AMX 1375. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that pair of games from tanks that are generally not particularly well liked. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.